Alright, let's give this a try. So who is Andy Donaldson? Well, I'm me. No. I'm a photographer. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a grandfather. I know. You're thinking, what, you? So young a grandfather? Yes, I have 2 wonderful grandchildren who I adore. I'm also an IT professional. For the past 27 years, I've done everything from site support to system administration, so I got a lot of miles under me. But what I am is a photographer. I've been doing photography since the mid-'80s. I grew up in Detroit, and when I was 15, my father decided to take a job in Ohio, which was a big move for our family. So we left Detroit and settled in Northeast Ohio, Hudson to be exact. Back then, Hudson High School was one of the only high schools around that I know of that actually offered black and white photography as an elective. I signed up for it, started using my dad's Canonet, and fell in love with it. Before I knew it, I had a darkroom in the basement, was developing film at home, was making prints at home, was skipping class in college to go take pictures when I should have been in class, and just was all in on it. The only problem was I wasn't very good. At least I didn't think so. Looking back on it now, I know I wasn't very good. I was too busy trying to emulate somebody who I admired in photography, Ansel Adams, and didn't really put the time. I was spending a lot of time in photography, but I wasn't really taking the time to master photography. Well, time progressed on, and well, I started working, went back to school, learned how to use computers, started working full-time, and photography started waning off quite a bit. In fact, around 1995, I had to sell all my darkroom and camera equipment just to make rent because I wasn't using it anymore. Well, fast forward a few more years, I met the love of my life, Denise. We fell in love, we got married, had kids, and the camera started making its way back in. First a digital camera, one of the real cheap ones. Well, cheap now, but at the time in 1997, these were fantastic pieces of equipment. Probably 2.1 megapixel. But started shooting again with that. And then slowly progressed more to a better digital camera as they became better quicker back then. And finally ended up with my first DSLR camera. Now I was hooked again. But this time, I didn't care what I was taking as much. I was just shooting. And I was shooting a lot. And I was practicing more. And I was paying more attention to what I was shooting. Well, time moves on. I start walking around the village of Zoar, which is located in northern Tuscarawas County, Ohio. And I start really taking more and more time and trying to perfect more and more what I was doing. Well, that started to get noticed. The local Tuscarawas County Convention and Visitor Bureau saw my work and were impressed by it. That began my relationship with them. For the past 12 years, I've been their photographer, their go-to photographer, sending me out on assignments, doing cover shoots for the local visitor guide, and just really growing my craft. Well, like anything else, things can get repetitive, things can get boring, and I picked up an old camera, a film camera. I thought, oh, here's a roll of black and white film that I can shoot black and white, and I can have it developed at the local lab. Great, C41 processing. I think I'll give it a try. Well, that got me hooked again. I slowly have been migrating, well, not slowly, at the time it was slowly. I started migrating back to film photography. There is just something about film photography that I feel you can't find with digital. No matter how much photoshopping you do into an image, no matter how much manipulating you do with an image, you just don't get that soul that a black and white image from a negative can produce. So I would say more or less most of the time I'm shooting film more than I am digital. Not that digital is going to be replaced, nor will the film be replaced. But it's something I enjoy doing because it slows me down. You have to make sure that your exposure settings are right. You have to make sure your composition's right. You have to make sure you've got everything locked down in your tripod properly, because you only get one shot. Unless you're doing multiples and bracketing, of course, but you only get one shot. You know, we've gone from having handheld light meters to having a light meter on our iPhones, which I use a lot. I am looking forward to that new spot meter coming out soon. I really want to try that. But you slow down. You take your time. Then you take the picture. Then you have to wait. You're either going to go home that night, develop it in your sync, or you're going to send it off to someplace like thedarkroom.com or one of the other services that are readily available now on the internet, and you wait. It's not instant. It's not instant gratification. Well, more instant if you do it at home, but you gotta wait. And then you get the image. And then you either do a happy dance because you got everything right, you got the exposure right, you got your focus right, or you find out that the shutter sticked on your camera and exposed about 3 frames. Yeah. Had a really good image this past summer that I took that was destroyed by that. But it's all about the process. It's all about slowing down. And when it works right, it works great. And when it doesn't work right, well, you grab another roll of film and you try again. Digital, sure, I can take a picture and say, oh, I don't like that exposure, I don't like the composition, delete it, move on, or change my settings right then and there, and then continue forward. But film, you just can't do something like that. You just got to slow down. You just got to take your time. And that's great. In this world that we live in, where it's all hustle and bustle, and with me working in IT, that is all hustle and bustle. This is something that just allows you to stop, think, and relax. So I don't know what we're going to do with this channel. If anything, I may just post videos like I've been doing of different things going on around me, things of that nature, or I might make actual vlogs about how I use black and white photography or how I use my digital equipment. Right now I'm shooting on a Canon EOS R. I've got a Canon 5D Mark IV, but I also have a Yashica Mat 124G, a Mamiya M645, a Canon Rebel XT, a Nikon 8008, and a 6006. I'm just looking up on my shelf, a Ricoh XR10, I believe it is. That's the camera I had back in the late 80s. A Pentax K1000, which if you didn't have that growing up as a photographer, so we'll see where this leads. What I want to say really with modern day photography on YouTube, I think there's a lot of great photographers out there. Of course, Jared Polin, Matt Day, a local Ohio photographer who I really enjoy, Matt Marash, who works at a local photo shop down in Columbus and is probably the biggest enabler to me on buying large format film photography equipment. That's still in the back of my head. And people like Grainy Days on YouTube, which if you have not checked out his channel and you love film photography, I definitely recommend you checking it out. But I just want to thank you for stopping by and checking out my channel. I've got other videos posted here. Of course, I don't have enough subscribers, so I can't do the playlist here because that won't work. So subscribe, like, share, stop by, and we'll see you soon.